Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I thought it'd be a really cool idea, just probably because everybody's like buying online and stuff now, which we shouldn't. We should be prioritising, obviously this is filmed when the virus is going on, all that bull. So yeah, we shouldn't be buying stuff we don't need online at the minute, but people are still doing it. So while everybody is just sat at home bored, I thought I'll give you guys some tips. If you're looking at, like, say, selling your stuff, you're bored, you're looking for a clear out and stuff, obviously Depop's one of the most popular sites for that, and I did a few videos probably about a year or so ago now. I had quite a bad experience with Depop. I will link them up here. I think that was 2 that I did, and they did really well. So I just wanted to share my tips with you guys, how not to get scammed on Depop. Basically, just some tips if you're buying from sellers. Yeah, so if you're buying from people, I've got a list of tips that I'm gonna read out to you because I've made like a little list on my phone. Depop can be quite confusing at first, so it's not like eBay or anything. There's like a 10% fee, blah 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 blah. I'm sure you guys will know the basic bits of it, but to know who to buy from and who not to buy from, it takes a little bit to get used to, because there are a lot of scammers on there, and there's like a lot of counterfeit items and stuff which are not allowed on Depop, but there's still items that are being sold on there that are like that. So anyway, let's get into the tips. So I've got a few that I've learned over, I think I had Depop about 2 years-ish. I got it when it was fairly new still, but now a lot of people are using it. So my first tip would be is to make sure the seller has good feedback. Like, don't buy from them if they have like 0 feedback, you know, the little stars on their profile. Yeah, so only buy from them if they've had some reviews, and obviously good reviews. You don't want somebody who's a bit dodgy and really slow to ship your item unless they've told you their shipping days, obviously, because some sellers I know schedule their shipping days, and if they have like negative reviews and all that, obviously avoid them because people have had bad experiences with them. You don't want to be dealing with that seller. So yeah, just on the whole, be careful and look for good reviews before you buy from the seller. So have a good look at their profile, make sure they don't look like a scammer, basically. Okay, so number 2 is always pay through Depop. Now I have a lot of people asking me, can we do it through PayPal because it avoids fees and stuff. That's fine, I guess, but it's safer to pay through Depop because I wouldn't say the customer service helped me at all when I had issues, but they're able to assist you a little bit more than what PayPal do. PayPal are a bit more informal, where they're just like quite blunt with you, in my experience. So I would recommend always paying through Depop because obviously then you can also get your refund, get your fees back, so that doesn't really make any difference. Whereas if you pay through PayPal, in England we have this option called friends and family instead of goods and services. Goods and services is basically when you're selling a product, that's the one you should use because you can still get your money back, but it's still safer to use Depop itself. Whereas friends and family, you literally just send in money and that's it. You cannot like claim it back from them at all. So if a seller's asking you to do that, I would completely avoid them because you haven't got a leg to stand on when you're trying to get your money back, and that's it. So yeah, if they're asking you to do that, just refuse to buy from them unless it's directly through the app, and then I'd still be a bit careful if they're still asking you to do that. But unless you feel like they've got really good reviews and stuff, I wouldn't do it. I've only done it twice myself, and I've been really lucky and had really lovely sellers and been able to get the item a little bit cheaper because we've gone through friends and family. But I wouldn't recommend doing it because there's a few times I've thought, oh god, they're not going to talk to me now, and that's it. So yeah, they can just literally ignore you and you can't do anything about it, so don't do that. Which brings me on to my next step, which is really important, to make sure you talk to the buyer before you actually buy the item. This is mainly just to make sure that the sellers are active still, because some sellers, it can, I think you still see it where it's like active today, active a week ago or whatever. If it's active like over a week ago or whatever, or in the last few days, I would message first. But if it's like active today, then it's pretty safe to buy. But I still always message them just to say, hi, is this item available? Even if they have, say, like instant buys on, whatever, because you don't know what those people are doing. They could have literally just forgot about Depop and that's it. You could never get your item. So I always make sure that the product's available and the seller's active, just at least so I can get the item fairly fast. So yeah, you don't want to buy from an inactive seller, but Depop, I think it does come up with like a warning saying this seller is inactive, blah blah blah. So yeah, don't buy from them. Okay, so my 4th tip is to make sure the pictures of the item or whatever they're selling is an actual photo they've took, not just off stock from like online, like Google and stuff, you know, like when like say a company advertises, they use that picture. I always ask to see the actual item, even if it's like a video or a picture, just on the advert itself, so you can actually see it instead of just stock items, because it just makes it look like a scam if you're not putting the picture of the actual item. I know some people are like lazy and stuff, but honestly, it's not likely to sell if you just have a stock picture. So That's an also tip for sellers as well. Use your own images. Okay, so my next tip, it won't be used for like all products, but I think most products have it on. And this is always ask if like an item's genuine, if they've got like a receipt or an email just to say they've got confirmation that the item was shipped to them or something like that. Also, what I like to do when I buy, it's mainly makeup I buy online, so I ask for a batch code, and the batch code usually is a good proof. Like, you'll be able to tell by looking at the batch code if it is genuine or not. And I know websites also have options where you can check to see if a product's genuine and if the batch code is actually genuine. So that is another good tip that I like to use. Just make sure if you're buying, say, like a lipstick or something, on the bottom, like I know on the Jeffree Star ones that I have, they have like a little batch code, and you can see clearly it's like an indentation sometimes, not even written on. You can tell if it's genuine or not. But yeah, that's a really good indication to use to make sure the item you're buying is actually real. Most expensive items will have that, so like handbags and stuff. Yeah, so you just don't want to knock off. Okay, and then I've got another tip to say, make sure the seller gives you trackable postage. This doesn't have to be like tracked and signed for. I know from Royal Mail you can literally get a standard one and print the label out and you can see if they've delivered it. So you don't actually have to get it signed for, but I wouldn't just use like stamps or something, because then it could just get lost really easy and there's no proof that the buyer's actually received it or the seller's even posted it if it's literally just in the post box. I wouldn't recommend using stamps at all, so I always ship through Royal Mail. I do it usually second class unless somebody requests it's like first class or special delivery or whatever. Yeah, but that's literally what works for me. Most people are really nice and will be fine. I've only had like a few issues with buyers who have said they haven't received the item. Obviously you're gonna get some scammers and all that aren't true and just want their money back, but most of the time like it gets delivered. So, or I've actually never had an item returned back to me, so that kind of makes me think they were all like just trying to scam me for money, because I always put my return address on, which is another good tip to do if you're a seller, to put your return address on it. But yeah, so that is pretty much all my tips I've learned from being on Depop and stuff. I'm just extra careful and cautious because my first few experiences, obviously you can tell by the videos I've linked, I got scammed really bad. Like my first experience, the girl was just ignoring me and I had no idea why, and she was coming up with all these different excuses. You can see in the video, I'll link it somewhere up the top. It will be somewhere within this video, probably towards the start. But I just had a really bad experience with her, and then I had a buyer as well also try and scam me. It was literally, she literally received the item. You could see she'd received the item and then told me she didn't want it, and I was like, I don't accept returns. Don't accept returns because you don't know what the person has done to it. It could break in transit or whatever. I've always recommended not to accept returns, but you can take that up with the seller individually because some sellers are quite different, like their policies and stuff. But I personally don't accept returns. I ship the item like it's put in the advert and that's it. But people can be really nasty on there and just try and scam you. So these tips that I've gave you, basically the one I was just talking about, you will get people trying to scam you regardless of what you do, but these will be like the best way to keep you safe and keep your money secure and to not get scammed online, because I know there's a lot of people that try and do it and try it on with you. So yeah, so it's best just to protect yourself, and the seller, if they follow the policies right, can protect themselves as well. Then everybody can like be happy, you know. So I think that's about it. I don't really have any more tips. If I do, then I'll probably make another video on it. But these are just my tips so far and what I've sort of learned to do on Depop. Just, you get the idea eventually after you've been on it for a little while, who's dodgy, who's not, and who just tries to ask you for like product shots and stuff like that and says they'll buy and then waste your time and stuff. There's so many annoying people on there, honestly. But yeah, I do buy occasionally on it, only if I find like a really good deal or I can't get it elsewhere. But on the whole, I don't really buy on Depop, I more sell on Depop. So yeah. So if you want to follow me on Depop, I'll put it somewhere here on the screen. Obviously I have really good feedback and a lot of items sold. That is another tip. Look how many items they've got sold. They sold a lot and they've got good reviews. You know you're onto a good seller. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will have tutorials and stuff coming next. I haven't actually been able to buy like many clothes and stuff recently. I know a couple of people asked me to do like a clothes like haul almost. I haven't really been buying clothes recently, not just because I literally go through stages where I buy like makeup and clothes and all that. So I will, when this all madness goes away, I will be back to buying clothes for my holiday and for summer and everything. So yeah. Hopefully when this all goes back to normal it will be really nice and I'll have a lot more new content, fresh things to do. I have got a lot planned for this year, so stay tuned guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.